I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee discussed the recent January 6th committee hearings on the House floor Thursday. The Texas Democrat said that the evidence shows, quote, the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys came specifically at the calling of President Trump. Testimony from last week's hearing focused on right-wing extremist groups and the chaos that unfolded inside the White House in the days after the 2020 election through January 6th. Jackson Lee also categorized the Capitol riot as, quote, domestic terrorism on steroids. Listen in as she explains.
This week, Mr. Speaker, I had the privilege of taking some of our young high school students and visitors throughout the Capitol. What a sense of pride I had in the beauty of this Capitol, the beauty of this building, but what it symbolizes, democracy. And as I walk through the halls, I'm reminded of the important hearings that are going on in the January 6th committee. The most recent hearing made it very clear that the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys came specifically at the calling of President Trump. The terrorism that occurred was driven by his lack of accepting the peaceful transfer of government. It was on the big lie. And so what we saw on that day, January 6th, was domestic terrorism on steroids, destined to commit mayhem, bloodshed, and death. It was an attack on democracy, and it's being evidenced every day that the hearings proceed, methodically, block by block, evidence by evidence. It is clear in the injury of law enforcement officers, loss of life, that we have to say to those of this nation, you have to take ownership of protecting the values and the sanctity of democracy. Yes, someone must be held accountable. The president must be held accountable, because what happened was not only attack on democracy and the peaceful transfer of government, but loss of life and death, and that cannot go unanswered. I yield back.